Welcome back, everybody. It's Getaway Day, Friday, May 2nd, 2025. Born on this date in 1941, former Major League pitcher Clay Carroll of Clanton. He was a relief pitcher in Cincinnati during those Big Red Machine years. And in 1950, pro wrestler Randy Colley of Alexander City. You probably know him as Moondog Rex of the Moondogs tag team of the WWF. It's National Space Day, something that's used to promote STEM education. Kids, you are naturally good in math. Don't believe that I have to be a math person to get it, bull. Choose to be a math person, then flies to Mars. Today we have items on Trump in Tuscaloosa, a hospital in Thomasville, and a preacher who passed away after more than 70 years in the pulpit. Then we're going to have a listener come on and take this week's news quiz. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama.
The Kentucky Derby's almost here, and you can get in on all the Derby Day action with FanDuel. That's right, you can bet the big race without leaving the Sportsbook app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app and bet America's #1 race with America's #1 Sportsbook app right now. 21 plus and reside in Virginia. Offer valid on first real money wager of 10 cents or more. Verified FD Racing account required. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable racing site credit that expires 7 days after issuance. Max refund $500. Restrictions apply. See terms at racing.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And especially a very big hello to the University of Alabama. Congratulations to the class of 2025. Roll Tide.
Well, I checked, and there is nothing in the U.S. Constitution regarding any separation of college football and state. Although a roll tide from the commander-in-chief had the potential to sting the Trump fans on the plane, at least superficially. President Trump delivered an hour-long address to University of Alabama students Thursday evening at a pre-commencement event. He stressed to the graduating students that they can be successful while they're still young and that, quote, if you want to change the world, you have to be okay with being on the outside, end quote. Now that and other points of encouragement were mixed in with more standard Trump rally points, such as his claim that the 2020 election was rigged, the poor performance of the Biden administration, and the prosperity that import tariffs are going to bring. Former Alabama football coach Nick Saban introduced the president. Saban spent a few minutes applying the process to the class of 25, telling them that self-discipline and good decisions will put them in position to succeed. On speaking before POTUS came on stage, the coach said he felt like he was the opening act for the Rolling Stones. We keep hearing about hospitals in rural areas having to cut or shut down operations, and it's a real problem that hasn't shown many signs of getting better. Medical services are geographically scattered in places, adding minutes to the precious time it takes to receive emergency service. However, in this case, reports AL.com Savannah Trians-Fernandez, Thomasville Regional Medical Center has sold and may soon reopen. A judge in Clark County approved the sale. The Thomasville facility closed last fall after it defaulted on about $40 million in loans. Prestige Thomasville LLC, a company formed by Baldwin County telecommunications company JMF Solutions, acquired the hospital, according to Thomasville Mayor Sheldon Day. Part of the proceeds of the sale will go toward paying down that debt. And a man who served as the pastor of a church for 72 years has died, reports AL.com's Greg Garrison. The Reverend William M. Norwood began preaching at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church in 1953. That's in Birmingham's Inslee neighborhood. He was originally from Greene County and started preaching to sharecroppers there when he was a teenager. He died on April 24th. William M. Norwood was 98 years old. Let's take a quick break. Then a listener's going to take the Alabama news quiz. This is always fun. Y'all stay with us.
Some matches are temporary, but your privacy shouldn't be. With Line 2, you get a second phone line just for dating. No need to share your personal number until you're ready. You can chat, text, and even block numbers, all while keeping things fun and private. It's perfect for online dating, blind dates, or just keeping things light. When you're ready to move on, Line 2 lets you cut ties without any drama. Dating should be fun and carefree. Line 2 keeps it that way. Ready to date on your terms? Visit line2.com/audio or download Line 2 in the App Store today.
Hey, thanks for staying with us, everybody. It's Friday, so we're going to do an Alabama news quiz. We have in the virtual studio with us J.R. Runnels. J.R., welcome to Down in Alabama. Tell everybody where you're from and what you do.
Thanks for having me, Ike. Glad to be here. Long time overdue. I am originally from Elmore County, Alabama. I grew up on Lake Martin, Eclectic, Alabama. It was a lot smaller then than it is now.
Yeah.
And moved to Nashville for a while and am back in Alabama living in Gulf Shores full-time now. And I work in the music business. I've been a tour manager since I was at Troy State. Back in the early 2000s, I went on the road with Wayne Mills. One thing led to another. Okay. 23 years later, I'm Justin Moore's tour manager. And I do a podcast from here about road stuff and all kinds of fun stuff. But I listen to this podcast, and I will say I may have the record for the most states have listened to this podcast because we travel all over the country, and I know I've listened to this show in at least 20 states, at least.
Wow. Yeah, if Justin Moore's touring, you're touring, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were actually just up in your neck of the woods or closer to you than I am right now this past weekend. We played Saturday night. We played the infield at Talladega for 20-something thousand race fans the night before the big race, and it was really special. It had been 19 years since I had been there. The last time I was there, I worked for Wayne Mills, and we were the opening band for Shooter Jennings and 38 Special in that same infield concert series.
Man, what a show. What a fun time. And this weekend had to be also. Tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, man, it was great. You know, we were there the day before because of the ARCA race and the two races they had the day on Saturday. The president of the record label, Scott Borchetta, actually owns one of the race teams. So we got to go on the track, meet the drivers, sit in the crew box thing for that race. And, man, it had been a while. And you forget how big the infield and the track itself is until you're inside of it and you can barely see, and how fast they come by you, and then how long it takes them to get around the backstretch. And just, I mean, it's amazing. It was great to be back at Dega for a Bama boy for sure. Yeah,
that's the one thing about those giant tracks and Dega. It seems like, well, they're out there riding for a while to get around the track, but they're moving, buddy.
And then when they get in front of you, it's like just the power. You can feel it, and they just boom, 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 boom. And then, I mean, it's wild. It was impressive. It had been a while since I'd been to a race. I played with Wayne Mills. We opened for Travis Tritt one time at Bristol. Now, that's a short one, and we sat down by the track for a minute. Now, that is intense. I mean, it is just because there is no long they're right there on you the whole time. That was an intense race. Totally different than the big track at Dega. But yeah, and we had good weather this week. And I know we talk about the weather on here, but as Southerners, that's part of our normal everyday conversation.
That's right.
And we actually did have good weather. I did notice this, 15 degrees cooler standing on the grass in the infield compared to on the track and that kind of stuff. Much hotter on the asphalt than it was standing in the infield.
That's why it takes down those tires like it does, I guess.
Oh, it was incredible. Watched them pit a few times. Well, I'll tell you one thing I took away from that. One, they spilt gasoline everywhere, and they used a standard leaf blower to blow the gasoline fumes away. They just took the blower, and the gas all evaporated. And I thought, well, I never thought about that. I always try to pour something on it, get it up. But and when they take those lug nuts off, they do not care to get them collected back up and take them off the track. The lug nuts come off when they're changing those tires. They just come off and lay around on the ground, and they just kick them out of the way. So they're in the pit row the whole time, just rolling around. I'm thinking that seems so dangerous. Wouldn't you have a person to pick up the big metal hunks of metal they're just rolling around on the ground? But they don't apparently in NASCAR. I didn't know that. They may kick them towards the wall, but that's about the extent of the recovery of all these nuts. But then when they're getting the next tire ready, I mean, it is precision. They're putting this lube on each one, and they're setting them and double checking. And, I mean, they're constantly checking those tires for the next time they go on. But when they're done with them, buddy, they're done with them.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I see you got a Floribama T-shirt on. Now, when you're not touring with Justin Moore, you like to hang out down there on the beach?
Oh, man. I cut my teeth there at the Floribama years ago, and I still love it. I actually strategically, my wife and I live over in Gulf Shores, so it's a good little drive, so it probably keeps me at bay a little bit from going over there more than I need to. But I still find an excuse, and I'm actually still on the roster over there. I go work some and help out with the entertainment department, and, it's a small world. Like I said earlier, I went to Troy State, and 2 of my fraternity brothers are also working. One's the GM and the other is the head of the entertainment department. So, it's just a small world, and I was one of the first ones to bring them there when I worked for Wayne Mills, and we played mullet toss in 2004, and then now he's the GM. It's amazing, but good people.
Well, we'll do this quiz, but first we'll go ahead and pay you for it by letting you plug your podcast.
Yeah, check it out. It's just the JR the Handler Show. You can go to jrthehandler.com, and it's got links to everything. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. It's basically Justin Moore and I had a podcast together during the pandemic, and we had amazing cast of guests on over a couple of years span there, and it was mostly artists and entertainers and athletes and sportcasters. I'm doing more of the people behind the scenes on that. My first few episodes I had Morgan Wallen's tour manager, Chase Rice, and now Low Cash's tour manager. Today I actually had on Alabama's Boyd Causey, who worked for Clay Walker for a long time and is now with a young artist named Chase Matthew.
Okay.
And then the next episode coming out next week, a little spoiler alert here. If you're listening to the Down in Alabama show, you're getting an exclusive because no one else is going to know this till next Thursday morning. But our next guest is Chase Butler, who is currently Riley Green's assistant and assistant tour manager for that whole tour, but Riley's personal assistant on all that stuff. I met him with Tyler Braden, who's a Alabama artist. He worked for Ella Langley, who was out on tour with Riley. So just Bama connections one after another. On one of my episodes, I did the breakdown of the ACM Award nominations that I get to vote on every year. So I read out the nominations. Didn't tell everybody who I voted for, but read out the nominations. And Alabama is stacked this year. It used to be Georgia 15 years ago.
That's right, it was.
First, on my way up, it was Luke and Aldine and just
Brantley Gilbert.
BG. Yep, exactly. And now it is a lot of Bama. You've got Riley, Ella, Red Clay Strays, Muscadine Bloodline, and they're all over it, and it's neat. So tying it in with that, and I'll have people like that. I'll have some publishers, some bus drivers, just people who were there for all these notorious stories. We half of us still are under NDs and stuff, so we're picking and choosing. And like I tell everybody, that my buddies will text me on the side, we want the juicy stories, and I'm like, guys, right. Skinner don't play Freebird first. They'll I got to save some for the book. I got to be able to sell the book one day.
That's right. You don't give everything away for free.
Skinner don't play Freebird first, buddy.
Hey, you want to take a quiz?
I would love to. I'm probably not going to do as well as I normally would because I've just been slammed this week. I have listened, but not as intuitively as I should have.
Well, I made this quiz before I knew who was coming on, so there's one that ought to be automatic, but maybe more. We'll see. Let's.
Hopefully you left the buzzer at home, so I don't have to have the embarrassment even if I do lose one.
I got it right here. Yeah, man, I'm ready
not
now.
My luck.
All right. Question number 1. State troopers responded to a call this week concerning a crash on I-85 between Auburn and Tuskegee, and this was sighted along the roadway. Was it an ostrich, a kangaroo, an alligator, or Sprocket the trash panda mascot?
Man, all possibilities along that corridor there.
Could be.
But I believe I heard this story, and it was a kangaroo.
Yes, it was a kangaroo.
And he had a name, or the last one that escaped had a cool name.
Yeah, the Coleman one had a name that I remember. Jackie Legs, I believe, is what it was.
Yeah, that sounds something cool like that.
Let's go to number 2. A bobcat briefly attacked a man's head in Wilcox County before realizing, I didn't mean to laugh, in Wilcox County because that ain't funny. A bobcat briefly attacked a man's head in Wilcox County before realizing he had jumped on a person, and then he left. What had the man been doing? Sleeping, cleaning fish, turkey hunting, or playing with a head-sized ball of yarn?
Again, all possibilities, I'm sure. And I have done some fishing and hunting in Wilcox County back in the day. Beautiful country over there, wide open. But I doubt he was doing anything but turkey hunting this time of year. Hey.
Absolutely. See, he had been using that Yelper.
Yeah,
and he sounded like a hen bird was.
And he had his back
woods.
to him, so the bobcat's just sneaking up hearing this noise. He thinks right around the pine tree or whatever he's leaning on is this bird. So he's just coming at it, and got him pretty good. Not an old guy, but not a young feller either. And glad he bailed out of it, without any worse injuries than he had.
Well, he was in his 80s, and when was a cancer had been battling
cancer survivor. Yeah.
So he said he was
good.
He said he was between a couple trees. That's kind of a reminder, I guess, to always put your back to a big one.
Or go with your buddy. Somebody watch your six. I don't do I went with my dad some when I was younger. But turkey hunting it's always hot still, and the snakes and all that stuff. So I never was a huge fan. I know it would be cool, and I know. Speaking of Bloodline, Gary Stanton from Bloodline, he's a big-time turkey hunter, so I just follow him on Instagram to get my feel of
there you go. There you go. You can do it.
It seems like most of my other tour managers' buddies, too, now that I think about it. I've asked a few to be on my podcast lately, and they're all getting back from turkey hunting camps. So maybe
they know how to live, yeah.
Well, I don't know how anybody has time to do anything. I can't get the stuff I need to get done. And everybody else I know has got 5 hobbies, and I'm like, I have 5 jobs.
I heard that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Now, question number 3. Now, this one, this isn't even fair. We should just skip this and go right on, but I'll say it anyway. Ella Langley of Hope Hull was recently named New Female Artist of the Year by the Academy of Country Music. Last year, she had a huge hit with what fellow Alabamian? Let me go ahead and read it out for people following along at home. Was it Jamie Johnson, Riley Green, Jason Isbell, or Richard Scrushy?
Wow. Took a class under Richard Scrushy's Toolage at Troy State back in the day when they named the stadium after him before they had to rename it. And I just heard Jamie Johnson on Bob Lefsett's podcast, which is great. Jamie's got new music out for the first time in 14 years.
Yeah.
And I don't, Isbell's politics is his politics. I love his music, always will. But that'd be Riley Green, a.k.a. Duckman. She's got the You Look Like You Love Me song out. And I called it as soon as that's first time I ever saw it, a clip of it. I said, there's your next biggest musical collaboration song, because that's usually a thing when you have different artists to do a song. It has its own category to win an award. I said, that's the big musical event. And sure enough. And I saw Ella Langley play for 10 people in the Dome at the Floribama during the pandemic. True story.
Oh.
10 people. No, before had no.
Wow.
I was just playing out around Nashville, down some, trying to make it happen, and then I knew
That's
she
the
had
time
the
to catch him.
Oh yeah, and I said it about Riley. I've said it about nobody ever listens to me, Ike, in Nashville. I've only been doing this over 20 years, and I live at the beach. But don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing.
That song was such a throwback. I mean, it sounded contemporary, but it just had a throwback feel. A Conway and Loretta humor.
Yes. Yeah, and the pacing and the talk and then them and the visuals that go with it, and them Riley just being on fire. He's done a great job at just slow building his career, and he's at a great spot and continuing to rise. I'm so happy and proud for him and his whole team. And then Ella's a go-getter too, so it only makes sense. But yeah, what a great song.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more to go. Number 4, according to State Senator Roger Smitherman, why did he request to have the entire general fund budget read aloud, taking up the final hours of Tuesday's legislative workday before the Senate voted on it? Was it to slow down the process and spend more time on all legislation? Was it so sight-impaired senators could give it one last review? Was it to give a couple of late-arriving Democrats time to make it for the vote? Or was it to kill time until the budget signing after party at Wind Creek, Montgomery?
This is going to be a shot in the dark. Like I was not paying attention during this segment of the show.
It moves fast down there.
Oh, buddy, yes, sir. I would think they were. It seemed to me like they were trying to stall for some reason to extend something, but I'd have to say they're waiting on some more Democrats to vote on it.
No, not that one, because they had the votes were unanimous. He said he was trying to slow down the process, and the Democrats are so outnumbered in the legislature that they get nervous at the very end about things getting rammed through, I think, and that's part of the games. And
gotcha. Thought they'd take a little more time and everyone might reevaluate and have a different opinion.
So nothing gets through too quickly.
Which is probably never going to happen, so you just wasted everybody's time, really. I'm sure.
Yeah. They'll get a little less done is the downside there. Or maybe the upside. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Number 5. Recently, Mobile native Alexis Herman passed away. She had served as the first black U.S. Secretary of Labor in this president's cabinet. Was it Bill Clinton's, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, or Donald Trump?
Another one I remember hearing the story, but I didn't catch that part. I'm going to go with Bill Clinton. Yes.
Well done. That was a good guess. It was Bill Clinton. She served at the very end of his tenure in office. Well, hey, 4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Whew, I'll take it on no more. In most weeks, I know I listen to this quiz when y'all do them, and I get most all of them. Can't believe someone would miss them. And then when it's my turn, of course, I miss one. But I'll tighten up. I'll come back on again if you'll have me, and I'll tighten up and try to get them all, improve my score.
Yeah, we'll do it. Well, thanks for coming on, and good luck out there. Keep Justin Moore in check so he can keep doing what he's doing.
That's right, I will, and I'll tell everybody out on the road you said hey, and everybody out there, spread the word on this podcast. It's great. This is how I wake up every morning, and one of the first listens I have, and it, no matter where in the country I am, it brings me back to Alabama, and I feel a little more at ease with my day. I'll say that.
I appreciate you saying it. JR the Handler, check out his podcast. Search for it. JR Runnels, thank you. Thanks, everybody out there, for listening to us today. We're going to be back here bright and early Monday morning. Until then, as always, come on by and see what we're doing anytime you want to on the internet at al.com.